February 19th, 2026, 66 degrees in Bloomington, Indiana, 70 degrees in Louisville, Kentucky, on a winter afternoon, and then, without warning, tornado sirens. Right now, as of February 21st, the National Weather Service has confirmed at least 5 tornadoes across Effingham and Crawford counties in Illinois alone on Thursday evening, with additional damage reports still coming in from Indiana in February, in the Ohio Valley. That is not a typo, and this is not hype. In the next several minutes, you are going to get the exact timeline of how this outbreak unfolded, city by city, hour by hour. You are going to understand precisely why this happened, why meteorologists were stunned even though they saw it coming. And here is the critical part. Another major storm system is already forming right now and targeting the East Coast within 48 hours. If you live anywhere from Washington, D.C. to Boston, what I'm about to tell you directly affects your weekend. Stay with me. The situation is more serious than most outlets are reporting. Here's the important part. The Storm Prediction Center issued a rare, particularly dangerous situation warning for Indianapolis on the evening of February 19th. Meteorologists do not use that designation lightly. It is reserved for events where the threat to human life is considered extreme and immediate. At the Monroe County Airport just outside Bloomington, Indiana, wind gusts hit 70 miles per hour before the instruments went dark. Whether that was from power loss or instrument destruction, nobody knows for certain. In Crawford County, Illinois, between 12 and 15 buildings were damaged. One house was completely destroyed. A mobile home was overturned with an elderly woman trapped inside. She was transported to the hospital with at least 2 broken legs. And that was just one county. Here is what nobody else is telling you. This tornado outbreak did not happen under classic atmospheric conditions. The convective available potential energy, the raw fuel for thunderstorms, was a remarkably low 54 joules per kilogram. Normally, tornadoes require hundreds or even thousands of joules per kilogram. What drove this outbreak was something far more unusual and far more dangerous in ways that scientists are still trying to understand. We will get to that in a moment. But first, if you live in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, or anywhere along the East Coast, pay very close attention to what comes next. Here's the important part about why this outbreak was so scientifically significant and so difficult to predict at the local level. Think of the atmosphere like a stretched rubber band. Normally, you need a lot of heat and moisture, that is the tension in the band, to produce violent storms. On February 19th, the heat and moisture were modest. What was extraordinary was the wind shear. Wind shear is the change in wind speed and direction with altitude, and it is what causes thunderstorms to rotate. On Thursday, the shear values across Illinois and Indiana were, according to forecast models, exceptionally high. Meteorologists at SIAMS and SSEC, using NASA Sport satellite data, noted that low-level lapse rates, the rate at which temperature drops with altitude, were steeper than anything you would normally expect on a February afternoon in the Midwest. That atmospheric instability was invisible to most forecast tools, but was lurking just beneath the surface. Meanwhile, dry air and powerful winds roaring across Oklahoma and the southern plains, the same winds that ignited the Ranger Road wildfire, scorching 145 acres and injuring 4 firefighters in Oklahoma just 24 hours earlier, those same winds collided with unusually moist Gulf air moving north into Illinois and Indiana. The collision was the trigger. The result was a tornado outbreak in the middle of winter. Could this have been predicted more precisely? And could the warnings have come earlier? Drop your city and state in the comments right now. I will personally respond with what this means for your specific area and what is coming next. Thousands of viewers are already doing this. Do not wait. Here is your critical timeline, city by city, as this outbreak unfolded across the Midwest on February 19, 2026. The atmosphere was already primed by morning. Rain from early thunderstorms pushed dew points to 60 degrees or higher across central and southern Illinois and Indiana. Temperatures climbed rapidly through the afternoon. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, a NOAA polar orbiting satellite captured a vertical atmospheric profile above Bloomington showing those unusual low-level lapse rates, a clear signal that instability was building silently. Effingham County, Illinois at 3:07 in the afternoon local time. The first confirmed tornado of the outbreak touches down near Mason. Do not be fooled by the early timing. This was only the opening act. Between 4:12 and 4:25 in the afternoon, Crawford County explodes with activity. A tornado near Chauncey. Another near New Hebron, a third near Flat Rock. At 4:24, a mobile home is rolled over with occupants trapped. 3 houses lose their roofs. At 4:25, a house is completely destroyed 2 miles south of New Hebron, occupants trapped inside. The largest confirmed hailstone of the event, 2 inches in diameter, strikes Diederich, Effingham County at 3:38 in the afternoon. By 5 o'clock, storms are roaring through northern Kentucky and southwest Ohio. Heavy rain and violent winds move through Indianapolis between 5 and 6 in the evening. But here is the terrifying part. The atmosphere recovers. The storms do not end. A second wave recharges. Indianapolis faces another round of violent thunderstorms between 8 and 9 in the evening. Total storm duration for Indianapolis, from approximately 3 in the afternoon to past 11 at night, 8 solid hours. And at 6:21 in the evening in Effingham County, another tornado is confirmed 6 miles north of Bible Grove. Well after dark, what happened next shocked even veteran first responders. Jerry Bailey was driving toward his daughter's home in Crawford County when he saw the sky. He said, "We got in the car and took off down here, hoping for the best, but we saw the worst when we came up the hill. It didn't take long to look at the property and see that it's gone. His daughter's home destroyed. Next door, a mobile home belonging to his son-in-law's mother. That woman was dug out of the rubble. She is now in the hospital, at least 2 broken legs. And somewhere in that wreckage, a cat. Bailey said he is hoping it found a hole and survived the night. That is what this storm looks like when the data becomes human. Think about what Thursday evening felt like in Bloomington, Indiana. 70 degrees at noon, tornado sirens at dusk, wind howling, debris in the air, power flickering and going out across entire neighborhoods. And then within 12 hours, a cold front slams through. Temperatures crash into the 30s by Friday morning. Flurries possible. The same streets that had tornado warnings are now dusted with snow. Remember the at least 5 confirmed tornadoes across Illinois. Remember the 12 to 15 buildings damaged in Crawford County alone. Remember that this happened in February, a month that historically produces almost no tornado activity in the Ohio Valley. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. The National Weather Service office in Indianapolis does not issue particularly dangerous situation warnings casually. They issued one on Thursday. Now here is the part that affects you personally if you live east of the Mississippi River. Comment your exact location below right now. I am reading every comment and responding with what is heading your way next. Hundreds of people across the affected areas have already posted, "Do not wait." This is not just a tornado story. We are looking at simultaneous wildfire destruction in Oklahoma, a historic February tornado outbreak across Illinois and Indiana, a crippling blizzard across northeastern Minnesota that dumped 38.4 inches of snow in less than 48 hours, and a nor'easter now forming that could strike from Washington, D.C. to Boston within the next 48 hours. 4 distinct major weather disasters, all happening within 72 hours of each other across the continental United States. The Monroe County Airport outside Bloomington lost all weather observations during the peak of the storm. Whether instruments were destroyed or power was severed remains unclear. Across Crawford County, power infrastructure sustained significant damage alongside the 12 to 15 buildings hit by the tornado. In Minnesota, the blizzard was not just a record snowfall event. Between 5 in the evening on Wednesday and 10:30 in the morning on Thursday, Minnesota State Patrol recorded approximately 220 vehicle crashes statewide, including 1 fatality. 16 crashes produced injuries. 188 vehicles went off state roads. 13 semi-trucks jackknifed. The city of St. Paul declared a snow emergency. In Hovland, on Minnesota's North Shore, 38.4 inches of snow accumulated in under 48 hours. Putting it on track to rank among the top 20 largest snowfalls in Minnesota state history. But here's what most people do not realize. Lake Superior dropped from 53% ice coverage to just 31% in 4 days because of that same blizzard. The storm was powerful enough to break up lake ice. The situation, heading into this weekend, was about to get much more complex. Crawford County Sheriff William Rutan confirmed the tornado in his county and coordinated the emergency response. His assessment was direct. He said this storm was similar to one that tore through the same area 3 years ago, but his department and emergency management responded faster this time. His explanation was pointed. Luckily, this one happened during the daytime, where there was a little more ability to see what was going on and being able to help people. That raises a critical question. Several of the tornadoes confirmed in southern Illinois and Indiana on Thursday struck after dark, after sunset at approximately 6:30 local time in that region. What happens when the next outbreak is entirely nocturnal? Residents in Crawford County with damaged buildings were directed to contact the Emergency Operational Command at 618-546-5602. In Minnesota, state and local authorities mobilized snow removal resources across dozens of counties. The scale of the response required deploying plowing equipment through overnight hours across northeastern highways. In California, Nevada County Search and Rescue and Tahoe Nordic Search and Rescue were simultaneously conducting operations following the Castle Peak avalanche, which claimed the lives of 8 experienced backcountry skiers. 6 of those 8 victims have been identified: Carrie Atkin, Liz Clabaugh, Danielle Keatley, Kate Morse, Caroline Sekar, and Kate Vitt. All of them mothers, wives, and friends from the Bay Area and Truckee-Tahoe region. All fully equipped, professionally guided, and experienced in backcountry travel. The mountains did not care. 3 separate major rescue and emergency operations running simultaneously in 3 different corners of the country in the same 72-hour window. High-resolution weather models were already tracking a coastal low as of February 18th, 2 days before the tornado outbreak even concluded. That low is now the subject of significant attention across the entire East Coast meteorological community. If you live anywhere from Baltimore to Philadelphia, from New York City to Boston, from Washington, D.C. to the interior of New England, the Storm Prediction Center's winter storm outlook for Sunday into Monday, February 22nd and 23rd, includes your region in a broad zone of potential significant snowfall. The GFS model, one of the primary American forecast tools, is showing a particularly strong storm track targeting the D.C. and Richmond corridor, pushing north through Delaware and into southern New Jersey. Confidence in exact track and snowfall amounts is still low, but the signal is real and it is strengthening. Here is what nobody else is telling you yet about this pattern. The 2-week temperature outlook for the lower 48 states shows above-average temperatures dominating nearly everywhere, from Tucson to Atlanta, from Houston to Sioux Falls. This pattern looks more like April than February, but embedded in that warmth are short, sharp, cold intrusions, exactly the kind that produced Thursday's tornado outbreak, and exactly the kind that can fuel explosive nor'easters along the East Coast when cold air collides with ocean moisture. Another potential significant weather event around the last week of February and into early March is supported by long-range models. I will be monitoring this closely and will have a full detailed breakdown as the signal strengthens. Make sure notifications are on so you do not miss it. Let us recap what this week delivered across the United States. At least 5 confirmed tornadoes across Effingham and Crawford counties in Illinois on the evening of February 19th, with additional unconfirmed damage reports from Indiana. 12 to 15 buildings damaged in Crawford County alone. 1 house completely destroyed, occupants trapped. 1 elderly woman hospitalized with at least 2 broken legs. A particularly dangerous situation designation issued by the National Weather Service in Indianapolis. 70 miles per hour wind gusts recorded at the Monroe County Airport. 38.4 inches of snow in Hovland, Minnesota in under 48 hours. 220 vehicle crashes in Minnesota in a single overnight period. 1 fatality, 145 acres burned in the Ranger Road wildfire in Oklahoma, 4 firefighters injured, 8 lives lost in the Castle Peak avalanche in California, 6 of whom have been identified, and right now a nor'easter is forming that could impact Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston as soon as Sunday evening into Monday. You now have all of this information. I will continue tracking every one of these events in real time. Drop your city and state in the comments below. Tell me where you are watching from and what the weather looks like in your area right now. Hundreds of people are already posting and getting specific updates directly in the comments. Share this video with anyone you know in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Minnesota, or along the East Coast. They need to see this before the weekend. This is not hype. This is not exaggeration. History will look back at this week as a turning point in how Americans understand February weather. One final question for everyone watching. If a tornado outbreak, a blizzard, and a nor'easter can all strike the United States in the same 72-hour window in the middle of February, what does that tell us about what is coming this spring?